again, and welcome to another episode of People con Dos Grandes Razones, aka People with Pizzazz, version in English. So here we are again with another episode in English, again with a unique kind of a guest, and we will get into it in a minute. But don't forget that this is a place where we talk about people, topics that are trending, that are cool, that people don't want to talk about, and we do it in a very funny, transparent, and unique way. So don't forget to follow me in Spotify or YouTube and subscribe so you can get a notification when the episode comes out on Thursdays, or follow me through Instagram and People con Dos Grandes Razones, aka People with Pizzazz. So here we go. We're gonna ready to start. And that was your face. So here we are, this time with my son, Jack Worthington. And today, we're going to talk about a topic that I believe is extremely relevant, not only to him, but to the world we are currently managing and dealing with in companies and as people. So today, we're not here to defend gaming. And where am I going to is he's a recent graduate in computing in game development. We're going to obviously expand on that a lot, but I'm not here to defend gaming. I'm here to talk about something more uncomfortable. Everything gaming actually teaches you, and how adults and the workforce conveniently ignore. Losing, adapting, coordinating with impossible people, making decisions under pressure, failing, trying again. None of this fits nicely in a CV. And if you put it as, I've had all this, thanks God to Fortnite, it would be like kind of looked frowned upon, right? But it happens every day in front of the screens. And they are skills that they are being developed. I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything. That's not the purpose of today's podcast. I just want to understand how your brain works when you are playing, and why that logic doesn't always translate to the real world, or how we as people, the area of people, have been unable to take it out from you and to understand it and see it in order to be able to, hire talent like you, or how you should also learn to transmit this to the real world. So this isn't an argument, it's a conversation, and a fucking cool one because it's with my son. So welcome, Jack. How are you?
I am good. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, that sounds so proper. That's my son, so proper. Let's get straight into it, okay? So when you're playing, right, in a game, and it's a hard game, or it's a hard situation, or it's difficult what you're doing, what is the first thing you analyze when you're doing this?
Well, I play a lot of team-based shooters.
Yeah.
So it's where two teams are up against each other, and they have to complete an objective and stop the other ones from doing their objective.
Okay.
When it comes to finding a difficult situation, is that you are losing in terms of you're not able to complete that objective, capturing a point, pushing a payload, etc. When I find it hard to, or when I'm finding it difficult to complete that objective and we're losing, I often try to find what is the best strategy for me that I can take to help my team to accomplish that.
Right.
But there are cases where I know that I'm doing everything in my power to do that objective, and it's not me that is holding us back.
Mhm.
So that's where it comes down to me needing to communicate with my team to ask and communicate to do some changes there.
Mhm.
I play Overwatch, which is a hero-based shooter, meaning instead of choosing what weapons you're using, you're choosing characters which have made or set skills, abilities, and weapons. Uh, each can counter other characters, and uh, they each have a situation which they benefit or don't.
Mhm.
So I can communicate with my team and say, "Hey guys, we need this type of character. Could someone
Mhm.
swap character, or we could someone go this or try doing this? If you could try to communicate without saying that the others are bad, never put the blame on others
Mhm.
is one of the best strategies.
Yeah.
Though, of course, most of the time I'm playing with my friends in a group and it's on a call with only them, and then we have a couple strangers.
So you can
with
actually
us.
nicely
So-
say, "A ver, pendejo." Like,
No,
it's
yeah.
not like that.
No, yeah, but also we're on a call and then we can turn off and on the call with those guys. So we're like, oh my god, this guy is
He's an
terrible.
idiot.
What is
Okay.
he doing?
Okay.
But that
okay.
is in private.
Yeah.
Of course. It's about knowing when to say stuff.
Mhm.
Games have moderation. Moderation in terms of communication. You can be banned. You can be censored. It's like a social media.
It's a community.
It's a community.
Yeah.
So you need to know what to say and when to say it. Games is very much like sports. People can get heated. There's
Absolutely. Which takes me to the next question, which would be, what goes through your mind when things are not going the way you want?
like what first of all, what can I do different? But if things are not going my way, well, I can always do differently the next one and learn from what it's doing wrong, learn and adapt.
On not necessarily after losing, but
Yeah.
on the way.
Yeah,
Okay.
on the way.
Okay. How do you choose to, or what does need to happen, or what goes through your mind when you decide, okay, I have to change completely the strategy, or keep trying what I'm doing? Like,
It can get frustrating and it can get really triggering, and people
heated.
yeah, people like myself can get heated and crash out and shout and stuff. But it's a game, and it's how I de-stress. People may say, "How can you de-stress when you're getting mad on a game?" That's how I enjoy those games. There are a lot of people who do that type of game. They go on games, they play horror games, and they get terrified and scream and stuff. But that's how they de-stress.
Right.
Or they're tired of work, but they go on to a farm management game where they actually have to do more work and math and stuff.
Right.
But still, that's how they de-stress.
Right.
There's thousands of games, and everyone's de-stress is different.
And not necessarily in games, but in any other ways. Yeah. What pisses you more, or what? Yeah. What pisses you more? Having lost due to a mistake you made, or having lost because of a mistake of someone else?
Well, if it's someone else, well, I can blame them. I'm more with my friends and be like, "Oh my, it was because that guy is that guy." But if it's because of me, like I apologize. I mostly play with friends. I don't like playing by myself. I most tell my friend, I apologize to my friends, saying, "Hey guys, that was my bad. I'll do better next time." And I try to learn. I always I like, because these are hero shooters. I always try to learn strategies, look at videos on how to improve and stuff, which can be applied to work at a constantly evolving industry such as software or tech.
Mm-hmm.
Much like that, games update, and the meta, which is the best strategy, changes. Therefore, the strategy has to change and you have to adapt. You learn different heroes, new heroes come out,
Mhm.
new weapons come out. You have to learn and adapt. That's mainly in shooters and hero shooters.
Right.
In other more casual games, you may need to learn the different equations for those tycoons or farming games or management games where you need to learn how different stuff interact with each other. For example, in roguelikes are games where every run is different. You start from scratch every time you lose. So you start a run with nothing, and as you go, you get more and more items, getting stronger and stronger. And most of the time in those, certain items play along with each other. For example, one weapon may stun an enemy, and another item may do more damage to stunned enemies. So as you get these, you have to remember how things interact with each other. Same thing with technology and programming. You learn one thing that may function with something else, and
Right.
you need
Enhance
to learn
it or boost it or
exactly.
whatever.
You learn how things interact with each other. In my case, I learned computing in games development. The name itself, game development, has this bias where people think, it's just games. But the course I took was software with games as a theme. We learned how to make games, but we learned all software in terms of games.
Right.
Right? So we learned networking, 3D modeling, programming in several languages, C++, C Sharp, Java, HTML, CSS, a bit of PHP, which is database management. We also did product development, entrepreneurship, which can apply to everything, not only software.
Yes, of course.
So in all businesses, you have to learn from everything, and in games, you learn from losing, and from changes.
So I've been trying to summarize it all here. What I hear, or the skills, the soft skills that I see coming out right now when we're talking about when you lose and when you have to think of a strategy, change strategy, if it's because of you or if it's because of some team member that you lose, is I see adaptability in terms of depends who's playing or what, as you say, not technology updates and upgrades have come up, and therefore you have to learn, and that continuous learning ability to keep up to date in what's going on, so that continuous learning thrive, and a self-consciousness of when you fuck up, know what you did, what I learned, won't happen again, and get myself better at what I fucked up with in order not to repeat it, and decision making, because obviously your decisions will impact the whole team and the decisions of the team will impact you. And it's not, yes, okay, we're friends and then put, yeah, tu pendejo, la la la. But at the end of the day, it's not a personal anger towards them. Yes, it heats you up, it annoys you, it might even, put you up to rage and want to kill them. But it's more of like, fuck, it's a game. We can learn, we can do it again, we can fix, and we can move forward.
Well, most people are like that.
Well,
there are toxic people, and you can encounter them, and that's where you need to be conscious of and understanding and
communication.
That's
what you were saying.
You said adapting to different people, and that's something else that I encounter in games such as hero shooters. There are classes in certain hero shooters. Most games fall into 3 types: DPS, tank, and support. Support heals, helps the other characters. Tank takes the damage, defends, and DPS does the damage.
So we talk about this later on, because we are going to go deep into it. Okay, so we were talking about right now about when you lose, or due to you, due to others. But I think that's a very interesting and very unique skill that you acquire. So in games, you lose all the time. Why doesn't it define you there?
Well, that is not entirely true. There are different levels to the how a game how serious a game is.
Okay.
There's casual games.
Mhm.
Those where losing really doesn't have any consequence. Those are most games, strategy games,
Competitive ones.
puzzle games, survival games. Just like those are casual. They're normal. There are competitive games.
Okay.
Those when you lose ranking. Winning puts you higher, like a league in football.
Okay.
Each player gets a score,
Right.
and the better you do, the
The
higher,
higher you are.
You are. And there are those games that have I like to call high risk games.
Right.
These games are like Tarkov, or I would say survival games such as Rust or hardcore Minecraft.
Okay.
These are where you play, you invest several hours into it, and you gather a lot of stuff in the game or do a lot of things. But when you lose in several of these, you die or get killed, you lose everything. Let me use the examples I gave you. In Tarkov, it's an extraction shooter. Tarkov or Arc Raiders. You have equipment that you can go into a battlefield with. In the battlefield, you try to get more equipment and resources and stuff, and then you try to get out with those.
Mhm.
You can encounter enemy players or robots or whatever, depends on the game, and you can die. If you die, you lose everything you found and what you took in. So it's high risk.
Right.
You can go in with very precious or powerful weapons, but if you die, you lose everything.
Right.
So it's a high risk. Minecraft, there's a game mode called hardcore. Unlike the other ones where when you die, you respawn, in that one, when you die, you don't respawn, and you cannot no longer properly access the world. You can just spectate it, meaning you can only see the world, no longer place or anything.
Yeah.
And people can spend years or decades in these worlds creating cities, landscapes, worlds, and it can be extremely devastating when you lose it because it's an investment of time
Okay.
and emotion.
So, what difference is there between losing in a game and failing in life? Do you believe that maybe having these experiences online, as you mentioned them, to the high risk that you're talking about, because the other ones I understand that it's just frustrating, pero pues, you lost. But when it's high risk to that extent, do they teach you to manage to deal with the loss in real life as well, or do you think not really?
They can be, but it can also be a extreme parallel. Losing in games can be, in that person's opinion, considered losing in life as well. Yes, they were playing a game, but the investment into that game could be considered part of their life. An example of how it can be compared to learned from is in the competitive games. Losing, you lose rank.
Right.
There are certain games that give you protection rank, where if you lose too much and you're about to derank, you get a game where if you win that one, you don't derank. But but if you lose, you do. D-ranking is similar to losing a job. You may get a project, and if you don't do well in that project, the boss may say, well, sorry, but you didn't do well, and I'm gonna have to fire you.
Okay, it's a little harsh, but okay.
Of course, yeah,
Okay.
no, I'm just as an
Okay,
example.
I get it.
Or a pay cut, right?
It's still harsh, but okay. I get your point.
In those terms, it's very similar to the ranking in a competitive game. Yes, it's not as impactful. Yes, one's financial instability, and the other one isn't. But at the same time, you can learn from it.
So having gone through what you're saying, I'm hearing is when you go through these laws, even in a competitive, not necessarily the high risk, but even in a competitive one, because of the investment in time and knowledge and etc., has or could help you if in real life you lose a job or you lose a client or
Yes.
whatever it may be, to manage it. And those are the things we were talking at the beginning of. You learn, you adjust, you see what else needs to be taken into account in order not to repeat that same mistake and therefore not to lose. So from what I'm hearing is exactly that the difference is that maybe the impact itself obviously cannot be compared. One could be a loss of a loved one or the loss of a financial situation. The other one, it's a game, but it's still that investment at the end of the day. So they do help.
You did mention the loss of a loved one. Remember the hardcore world I mentioned?
Yep.
It can be that emotional to lose.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who've spent decades on these worlds, and in the worlds, in the hardcore world, they have pets and worlds, and the time they've spent in this is very. They have an emotional connection. Losing it can be
as devastating
as losing someone close to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yes, it can prepare you, but you shouldn't underestimate how much loss in games can be. You shouldn't overestimate it, of course. It is a game. But depending on how much investment, time, or effort someone invests into these activities, it can
trying to take something that that people listening to us could learn from this. And I know you have not been in the yet, hopefully soon, in the working world. But hold on. I know you've been in internship, so yes, you have tasted it, but not for long term. But I think that if parents, and I'm talking now to parents of kids who are gamers, and parents get frustrated when they spend too much time in it and they're not doing anything, blah, 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 and something happens that parents get angry or the kid fucked up in something, and so he gets punished. He gets grounded or of some sort. And I've heard stories, of parents saying throwing it away or deleting or whatever it may be. And I've heard of horror stories of kids even committing suicide for this. What, is it, from what I'm hearing, it is that
it's a time investment.
So what would you tell a parent to do if they're so frustrated because the kid just no pela cabrón and they fucked up in whatever, like school, they flunked one subject because they were too much time in the game. So
instead of removing it outright, punishing the future use, or extended future use, you should do present use. Don't let them use it for a time, not outright
destroy
it. It's like saying, oh, you'll never be able to, I'll break your legs because you won't be able to play football ever again. I've trained.
I think that's
Yeah,
a little
no.
extreme.
Yes,
Maybe
it's physical pain.
Maybe instead of breaking their legs, is like you're not gonna be able, like you're out of the league, you're out of the team, you're ever again. Like you're not allowed to play football again. It's
Yes.
that extreme. Instead of saying
Or breaking all your art equipment if you're you like
yes,
sprinting.
or if you have a collection of something, throwing it away.
Yes.
Yes, so that's a little extreme. It would be more not as damaging as to saying is it's like a timeout. It's like you're not allowed to do it. Like a football player, as you were mentioning, if no, it's the team, my team, and they fucked up in school, you're like, no, for the next 2 weeks, you're not gonna go to training. No, but the coach is gonna kill me, most likely.
Yeah.
So suck it up, buttercup, because for the next 2 weeks, if you don't focus on this and get a good grade in the test, that's it.
Yes.
Instead of just saying you're out, never again are playing. Se acabó tu carrera, like futbolística, that's done, because it's a little extreme. So that's your comparison that you're talking about. And but not all games are like that. So don't put that as like they're playing Tetris and it's that devastating. It's more of those highly invested games. But if I can give some sort of advice, would be get involved, parents. Listen to what they tell you about what they're doing, what they're playing, and what is it about. Show a little bit of interest in what's that world and why are they so interested and what has captured them. And you might not like it and you might not understand it and still be in the same position, but at least what I've seen, and I'm not, this is not a podcast for parents, but what I've learned is that when you actually sit down and talk to anybody about a particular interest of them, people brighten up and they just want to tell you all about it. If you talk to somebody that collects coins and you start asking them about their collection, puta madre, like you will hear the end of it, because they want to show you everything about this coin and that one that was done and this was the first one. Same thing with anything that your kids, your partner, your teammates, your roommates, your workmates, when you show interest, true interest in what they're doing, it's marvelous what comes out. Okay, we ended up in another area altogether, but I think it was very useful. So we'll go back into the game in a second. Getting back to the gaming section, we talked about at the beginning of the skills that you acquire, right? We talked about adaptability, communication, and self-awareness, among other decision making. There is, however, another big one, which is dealing with teams, dealing with your teams. And although they're your friends in most of the time that you play, you do sometimes end up with people you don't know and meet. So if you, when you deal with these people, what type of player is the hardest to deal with?
Well, there's one that I'd say that I don't like dealing with more, both in my team and the enemy team, but it does not apply in terms of work, which is the hacker.
No, but actually yes, because the hacker, I remember in a company that I worked with, one morning we woke up and a hacker at global level had fucked up the servers. So
I don't mean, what I mean is as a teammate or as an opponent. That
I see what you mean. Okay,
you may be going against the hacker, meaning you can't do anything against them. Mm-hmm. They're just beating you. You can report it, and hopefully, because some companies aren't good at that, some are. Mm-hmm. They will get banned.
Okay, so let's avoid that one.
If you're in their team and the other team is saying this person is hacking, you may listen to them and be like, okay, I'll report them after the game. But in the workplace, you can't. There's no real parallel that I can picture
for a hacker
that you can do something about.
Well, Actually, I think it would be debatable. If you let's define hacker. Hacker is somebody who is
someone who is exploiting the code or managed to do something that gives him an extreme advantage. That was not intended. Cheating.
Cheating.
He's cheating. That's it.
Okay. Unfortunately, sorry to bust your bubble, but in the workplace, there are many of them. Cheaters, one way or another. And yes, there are things you want to do as well, which is report them. Yes, you can. Unfortunately, depends on the level of the person, the rank, depends on who the person is, depends on many factors that, just like in the companies you mentioned, it's hard to do something to them. But in other circumstances, there is things that you can do, and it's actually go and talk to their to HR, go and talk to their boss, etc. So I see your point in terms, and I can see why they're the hardest to deal with. But you would say that's the one?
Yeah, there is a plethora of hard players to deal with. It's much like real life. There's always people out there that are hard to deal with. Some to mention in games is a griefer, which is someone who goes out of their way to just
fuck people up. Oh yes, we know those.
In Minecraft, they just want to destroy your stuff or kill your pets or destroy your items, kill you just because.
Yeah.
Just ruin your or lose your match on purpose.
Spiteful people.
Yeah. Not do damage.
Just for spite.
You have those who are toxic. They're not outright doing anything wrong. Except for being really mean or verbally abusive. And they in online it can get really bad. That you can actually you can report them.
Yeah. Okay.
So like there's a plethora of difficult people. You can even there's also the lesser difficult people who do not listen.
Okay.
People who are dead set. People who listen but are dead set that they know that their way is the right way.
How do you deal with those?
Well, for me, I just try to adapt around them.
Okay.
Like, okay, he's not doing. I need to compensate for what he's not doing, and where I mostly encounter them is in the hero shooters.
Okay.
Therefore, I try to choose or change character to either not need the character the thing he's lacking, or do the thing he's lacking. For example, if he's not doing enough damage, change to something that may do more damage. If he's not doing enough healing, do something that may not require more healing.
What about when you have a player that is kind of new?
Noobs.
Noobs.
Noobs. It's always nice to find noob, especially if they're in the enemy team.
Okay.
Because you roll them, of course.
Yes, of course.
But if they're on your team, it's always nice to find someone and help them. It is frustrating, of course.
Yeah, because it's a process.
Yes, it is a process, and it's frustrating because when you're playing, you want to win.
Yes, of course.
But when you encounter someone who's new, it's always helpful. Maybe suggest something. In my early years on Overwatch, I would always when I encountered someone who played the same character as me, I'd always ask, hey, and they were better than me, I'd ask, hey, any tips for this character? What can I do to get better? And they, most of the time, they would be like, yeah, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. And it's communicating when they would do it, because certain game communities aren't as friendly. It's always depending on the community.
Okay.
Communities in games are really good or really bad. It depends on the game and the location. I've heard and learned recently that communities in American servers are more mean or rougher than communities in European servers.
Interesting. Yes, it has to do with cultural differences
Exactly.
and the competitiveness that they have, pushed you in since you're
Exactly.
since
And
you're young.
you can encounter that in the workplace as well.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because if you're in a multinational company or in a specific company from a specific location, but I'm sure or I'm just assuming here, but when you play, because you've played with people from servers in America, in Europe, in Asia as
Yes.
well, you've done it. So, how did you coordinate with someone you don't know and who thinks differently then?
Well, that's the catch. I usually play with my group of friends.
Yeah.
I'm on a call on Discord and I'm playing with them.
Yeah.
Rarely or occasionally, we can join voice with our team if we hear them or we want to tell them, which occasionally ends up being my teammates complaining to them or flirting with them. I know.
Okay.
Yes. But yeah, we can communicate and those who don't listen, like
No, more than know this, if they think differently of
if they think differently, like it can be frustrating, but you again, it's the same thing as those who don't like when you encounter a guy who's not doing something wrong and you need to adapt and go around what he said. You try to do what they're not doing and try to adapt.
compensate.
Yes. It's the same thing.
Okay.
I'm not that confrontational when it comes to the game unless I'm very, very, very triggered. Usually it's my friends who start typing.
Okay.
They tell me I'm too nice sometimes. One of them gets actually frustrated when I always at the end of games say GG or GR, good game, good round. He's like, be mean.
Be mean.
But no, yeah.
You were well brought up. Though.
I know.
You were well brought up. Yes.
But no, yeah. Like it's you communicate if they're not listening or they don't change their mindset. It's you adapt.
Yeah.
And in the end of the day, yes, it's just a game. And in those where yes, it's in the high risk games where you lose everything, which I started playing a new one. Again, it's just a game, but it still hurts, and you need to learn from it.
And it's still important that we don't judge hobbies as hard as we judge gaming. Yes. And it is a hobby after all.
There is that big bias around games.
There is, though, like in anything, obsessions.
Yes.
Addictions.
Yes.
So as long as
in moderation,
it's not gone to that. Because a hobby, I can love collecting watches, or I can love playing a game of hockey or whatever I like, but I'm not addicted or obsessed to the point of, of doing exercise to the point that it's actually affecting my health. So as long as it's not in that extreme, then I think it's a hobby.
Though games can also be put into the professional environment.
Okay.
There are leagues. There are people who make money just by playing games.
True, but
not only from streaming or making videos out of them.
No, I get it. But I think here, what I would like to focus more on is not just the concept of the playing for a hobby or an amusement. It's what you get out of it, particularly in your case, is you actually went to university to study, but not to study games.
Yeah.
Like you didn't go to study how to be better gamer.
I wish that was the choice.
But you went there to learn to develop,
create
with
games.
A specification on games. But as you mentioned before, is you had to learn it's like going, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's like going to med school to learn to be a doctor, and then you did a specialization in neurology or in cardiologist.
More or less.
So you have
Though-
all this knowledge.
I'd say there's the difference between a doctor that does all medical knowledge then does a specific a specialization is that I chose to learn all that and do this.
Yeah. That's what I mean. At the end, yeah.
Software can all be put into small groups.
Okay.
UX, user experience, UI, the front end of stuff, back end programmers, all the coding in the back, the different languages. You can be a specialist in each one. Web developer, it's only focused on website. App developers, software developers. In terms of games, 3D modelers, audio designs, they're all different jobs and thousands of different jobs, and they're all you can study to be one.
Mm-hmm.
There's even game designer. You design games. That's it. You just design games.
There's even because what I've seen is game designer in Renaissance.
Oh no, yeah. There's even more specifics within. But the course I took was extremely broad. It was computing, so I learned computing.
Yeah.
In game development.
And that's where you specialized.
Where I specialized. It was how I like to explain it. It's I learned software, how to
manage it.
How to do software development.
Uh-huh.
As I mentioned before, I learned several programming languages, networking, product development, entrepreneurship, which would be for app development, software development. But I also did things that are specific for games development.
Gaming. Yes, of course. Because if not, then
exactly
what's the point?
Like the 3D modeling, the audio design, and games design.
And again, thanks to that, is that you're able to work in, as you say, in areas, and that's the ones I heard you as UX UI, as a web developer, software developer, because you have that knowledge.
Yeah, I did a couple semesters.
It's not that if you're not doing a game, you're dying. No, and that's the only thing you know how to do. No, it's not. It's a broader. So okay, let's wrap it up because we went a little bit on a tangent there, but yeah, okay. So from where I gather is this ability that you have developed in terms of managing different personalities, teams, making sure that at the end of the day there's you win or you learn. You don't lose. I mean, yes, you lose the game, but it's in let's call it in real life. It's you learned, even though you lose, but so you can't say you lose. You learn or you win. So it's a good
Fair enough.
Thank you. Trying to bring it a little bit down to the type of audience that listens to this. Where do you feel the work system doesn't understand how you function? And I know that your experience is limited in the internships you've had, but still, I would like to see that point of view.
Well, I think there's a big bias or stigma around the word game.
Mm-hmm.
As I've mentioned before, I did do a lot in terms of my career. But when people hear, let's say, game programmer,
mm-hmm.
When they hear that, they don't really put a game programmer on the same level as, let's say, a software programmer.
Mm-hmm.
Though, depending on the game, a game programmer could do or be programming something more complicated than a software. For example, a physics game, they would have to program, if they're doing it from scratch, a whole physics simulation, the gravity, the friction, all that. Simpler games would require less, of course, but it's still programming in the end of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of my situation, I learned computing in games development. I have all these skills can be applied to several things.
Mhm.
I know web development, several languages, and I can program in them, and I know how to make games.
And on top of that, you put in the soft skills that you have
Exactly.
developed during the gaming
Yes.
and playing games. Makes a nice combo.
The problem is that when I'm applying for jobs, I think is that when they see that I did computing in games,
It labels you.
it labels me as someone who hasn't done as much
Right.
as someone who did computing
Whatever,
and software
or something else. Yeah. No, I can see that. And it is, and that's the purpose of today. It's, as I say, I'm not trying to change people's minds, and I'm just trying to tell them the reality, and for them to understand what it is, and it is. Boom, se acabó. No discussion. So if a company worked like a good gaming team, and I know again your experiences, but imagine a good gaming team, and you could have this in a work environment, what would it do differently?
Well, they would communicate with each other. They would learn from their failures. They would adapt to changes and plan accordingly. Uh, it's all the soft skills that we've talked about beforehand, and as I've heard from when you got back from work, not all teams have all these soft skills. Some of them have terrible communication skills. Some of them don't learn from their mistakes.
Yeah, and it varies from team to team,
Yes.
and even from people to people. But yes, I agree with you. I think a good team understands their roles. They're accountable for them. They not only learn from their mistakes, but they they step up. They own it when they fuck up, and they move forward as a team. Usually, all these nice characters that you mentioned, the toxic one, the not listening one, the I know it all kind of guy, etc. You have them everywhere, not only at work, in the family, at clubs, in sports, in any environment. There's all sorts of personalities. So well, let's wrap it up here. And as a final question, if somebody told you stop playing and grow up, what would you want them to understand without picking up a fight?
That games isn't as childish as people picture it to be. It's the same as someone saying stop reading and grow up or do something. Everyone relaxes in their own way. Everyone uh, has fun in different ways.
Mhm.
Everyone enjoys doing different hobbies or likes to socialize in different ways. I socialize very online. I'm a very online person, mostly because a lot of my friends are in different countries and I can't go outside and meet them.
Yeah.
I can't really go out and take a drink with someone who's in Japan or whatever. So for me, games is how I hang out with my friends and socialize, as well as how I de-stress, how I like spend my free time, and how I spend my time when I have some to spare, which I have a lot right now.
Well, let's hope that it also becomes eventually something that will give you food, feed you.
Yes.
But in the meantime, I think it's a fair point. It's we don't judge people when they sit down and read for hours on end. On the contrary, we're like, oh, how cultured, right? We do not judge people who go for long fucking runs.
Yeah,
and train there, and we don't judge people on that because we see it differently, and I think it's very stigmatized. This area.
There's a lot of games out there that have like amazing stories that can rival books. Like recently, the winner of the Game of the Year, Expedition 33, has one of the most intricate and interesting stories I have ever seen.
Oh, okay.
And I recommend whoever can play or enjoys that type of game to look into it, because it is insane. And even those games that seem not to have a story on the surface, gamers will always find a way to find the story.
Right. Well, there you have it. It's part. It's a new thing that we have to learn to adapt and
accept.
integrate into. Let's normalize it. That would be the word. Let's normalize it, because at the end of the day, we will have more of this, aren't we? Yeah. Well, just to finish it up, first of all, thank you, Jack. And I, believe me, from the bottom of my heart, I truly wish you all the success in the world to find that that job that will take into account all your skills, and you'll be able to flourish in that respect. As a mom, I tell it to you, and as an HR person, I tell it to you. So if you listen to this and still think gaming is just wasting time, that's fine. Couldn't care less. This episode wasn't made to change your mind. It was made to show that learning doesn't always look productive, and intelligence doesn't always show up where adults expect it. You don't have to agree with it. You just have to stop pretending it doesn't exist. That's it. Simple as that. It is what it is, and accept it. If you have kids at home that like this, approach them, learn from it. You never know. You might become a gamer. Who knows? And for all those companies out there and all those people in HR and in the people area, open up a little, and not just not just look at the degree name. As I mentioned at the very beginning, no, actually, I didn't mention it here, but it would be a good moment to say so. I was in a company, my first company I went to, it was a company that would hire people based on their potential, on their skills, and they would put them in areas that they know they would succeed. And it didn't matter where the fuck they studied and what they studied. So I knew people in sales that had been dentists, or people in purchases which were landscapers, and they were biologists, and people that you're like, what the fuck are you doing here? And it was not based on what they studied. It was based on that potential, that values, those principles, that ability, mental ability to think. They actually, water did get to the tank, and that's why they looked at them and hired them. So I really hope that whoever's listening and has that opportunity and that power to be looking at future talent, well, this is it. This is the future that we're trying to hire. So see you later, people, and buckle up, buttercups. See you next Thursday. Bye. Sí, bye bye.
Bye.
Si te gustó el episodio, compártelo por WhatsApp o al link Pipo con 2 grandes razones, y así lograr que más gente se entere del contenido. Suscríbete en Spotify y activa las notificaciones, o en YouTube dale a la campanita para enterarte de todos los episodios de estreno y dale una calificación de 5 estrellas para que más gente pueda encontrarlo. Sígueme en Instagram, Pipo con 2 grandes razones, y platícame qué temas te gustaría escuchar.